This is Kittery, Maine. Kittery is just north of the New Hampshire border, really not that far from Boston, just a little further south to get to Boston. So behind me right now is a church called the Bethany Church. But a few years back, it was the First Baptist Church of Kittery, Kittery Point, and that church had kind of declined in the numbers in their congregation. And so as kind of their last act, they decided to give their building to another church, apparently this Bethany Church. But when the pastor was giving this church away, he was rehearsing some of the history of the church. And during the course of the history of the First Baptist Church of Kittery, he actually brought up the man who founded the First Baptist Church in what is now Maine. At the time, of course, had been a part of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, but William Screven is his name. And so William Screven is really notable history. So he was ordained at the age of 53 by the First Baptist Church in Boston to come up to Kittery and plant a Baptist church here. There were some other like-minded believers that were in Kittery at the time, and so he started this the First Baptist Church, and they met for a while, but they were constantly, from the very founding, constantly harassed by the Puritans, the Standing Order, with fines, threats of imprisonment, and then actually William Screven himself was imprisoned. And it got so oppressive that himself, William, and quite a few members from his church did a most unique thing in Baptist history. They packed up and they sailed from Kittery, Maine, down to Charleston, South Carolina, where Screven and his congregation founded the first Baptist church in the South, we would say. And so, of course, later, not much later, but a little while later, we know of Shubal Stearns and the Great Sandy Creek Baptist Church in North Carolina, and that movement as well. But William Screven made this move, and it was significant in a way that the Baptist really spread into the South. They had researched and found that Charleston would be a much freer place for them to worship the Lord. Great sacrifice to do that, to move from New England down to South Carolina, but the Lord blessed that. When I teach about William Screven in Baptist history, we have a little fun with it because we just try to picture what it would be like for this group of New Englanders when they first arrived into the deep South, South Carolina of all places, and what it would be like when they went to their very first Waffle House and heard that Southern accent and ate fried chicken for the first time at Bojangles. Then I kind of back out of that and get a little bit more serious with our, more reality with our Baptist history, but we have a little fun imagining this group of New Englanders hitting the deep South and what that must have been like. So a great testament here to a man who ordained later in life, age 53, and began to serve the Lord and was fined and imprisoned because of his beliefs, and then willing to make a big move down to a brand new area, and how God worked and blessed and used them. So down in South Carolina is where you'll find many more of the monuments and the historical markers there at about the First Baptist Church of Charleston. About the only thing I could find in this area about William Screven, other than the history of the First Baptist Church in Kittery, was that there was a church in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, not far from here, that was named Screven Memorial Baptist Church. But just a few years back, the church voted to take the name Screven off of their name and also the name Baptist off in order to better reach their community. And so William Screven, his burial is down in South Carolina, and some monuments to him. But we remember him from Baptist history, a great, unique church planting effort from the First Baptist Church of Boston to try to reach in this area. It said after he moved with much of his congregation, the remaining congregation continued to meet in houses and things, but it was a number of years later that what we would think of the next version of the First Baptist Church of Kittery was reformed and then continued until just recently. So William Screven, Maine, Kittery, Maine, one of the early Baptist pioneers in New England.